For this project, I'm using a cookie pan and 2 of these 2022 Farm Fresh calendars, one of which was sent to me by a sweet viewer. The first thing I'm going to do is take my white chalk paint and paint around the outside edges because that could possibly show. You can paint the back if you want to. I know it makes for a more complete and finished look, but I don't have time and I don't have a lot of paint left. So anyway, I'm going to paint the inside and all around the edges there on the lip or the sides of my pan. And then once that dries, I actually gave that a couple of coats. But while that's drying, I'm going to take both of the covers of my calendar because they're a little bit thicker than the actual calendar page on the inside. And I'm taking both of those little trucks and cutting them away, and I'm going to cut all the way around the outside of it. I'm going to leave off the flowers that are in the back of the bed of the truck and then just use the truck itself. There's little spaces in between where the tires are, so I'm going to cut those off also just to give it some more cuteness and character. And you'll see why we're doing this. My mom used to do this craft a long time ago, back in like the 70s, when decoupage was at its highest popularity before there was even such thing as a Michaels. But I've always remembered the crafts that she made, and she would put it on wood plaques and they would be lifted up so they were kind of 3D, and not everything on the picture, it would be just different areas of the picture. So I'm going to kind of replicate that. So now to lift my other 2 pieces off of the calendar page, I'm going to take some craft sticks and I just glued together 3 of them, and then I'm going to paint those white just in case you can see them poking out. You actually can't see that unless you're totally looking inside, but just in case I wanted those to be white as well. So now I'm going to take my calendar page and I'm going to place that in my tray and see where I want it so that I can get all of my words in there. And then taking a foam paintbrush, I'm going to apply that to my tray, about the same amount of space that it's going to take to cover the entire backside. And one of my sweet friends here on YouTube, Brenda over at Rustic and Lace, I'll have her channel linked in the description box below, showed how you can use Mod Podge. If you put it down and then let it dry, then you put your piece over it and then activate that glue by running an iron over it. And I'll have this little iron from Amazon also linked in the description box below. But this way you can apply something on and not have as many wrinkles or bubbles. And so it works perfectly. So thank you, Brenda, for that little bit of life-saving revelation. So I'll hot glue my sticks onto the first truck and then onto the calendar itself. And then I'll do the same thing with the second one and then just layer those so that it's 3D now. And I'll show you what it looks like here. You can see it just kind of pops out. And I think that's just so cute. So now to give it that enamel wear look, I'm going to take a black Sharpie and go around all of the edges of my cookie tin. And these cookie pans are so perfect to do this on because they have a little bit of a rounded edge on the lip of the tray. Now I always recommend not to do those little chips that you see in authentic enamel wear until the very end, because chances are, well for me anyway, I always kind of go out of the lines, or it'll kind of bump out, or my hand goes off of the edge and will make another little line. So I'll just use those as the places where I put my chips. And then once I've done all those, I'll go back and make some actual big chippies in different places so that it's nice and spread out. So now I'm going to fill the bed of the truck, and I'm just taking this Dollar Tree stem and taking all the little teeny pieces of flowers. I'm going to cut those down, and since there's a gap now in the bed of our truck, I can poke those into that. I'm not sure where that second stem is from. I get a lot of people who send me all kinds of Perky prizes, and so this one didn't have a tag on it, but it kind of looks like the same quality as Dollar Tree. I'm just not sure. But anyway, this is a perfect time to use your little scraps, and remember, it's not hoarding if you use it. And then I took some little baby's breath also. I'm going to tuck that in there. Once I figure out where everything's going to go, then I'm going to go back and glue it all into place. And oh, it's so cute. And here it is all finished. And I just think this just makes me smile. It's just so perky and fun and springy, summery looking. It reminds me of the crafting that my mom did when I was a child, but I just love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. So for this this next project, I'm using 2 Halloween signs and 2 of these 3D wreath forms. Now these normally go out into a ball, but I'm gonna use the second largest ring and just pull that off of the little tabby there. And that's why I need 2, because I need 2 of the same size. So I'm gonna leave on the little hookies at the ends. There's one on each side, but we're going to be using those. You'll see why in a minute. And then I'm going to use 2 of these plastic domes and then 2 shower curtain rings. I have these already wrapped in jute twine. So I'm also going to be using 2 of these wallpaper pieces. They have all different designs and finishes. I chose these 2 paneled looking wood ones. So these signs are just a tad wider than the wallpaper itself, but I just added a little teeny slice at the ends to cover that up. And these are self-adhesive, so they stick really well and stay in place. So I'm just gonna add that to the back of my signs. Of course, you can paint the back of these and make it look all nice, but you know I'm not gonna do that. I did notice though that it was easier to take off some of that paper that's on those signs because some of it was hanging off a little bit, and that made it a little more difficult to cut. So I'm using my utility knife to go around the shape of my sign. If you're just using a square sign, it would make it easier, but I thought this shape was perfect for these sconces that we're going to be making. And then once it's all cut out, I'm going to use some sandpaper and go around those edges to give it a nice finish. So now I'm going to make a mark from the point to 5 inches on each of these sconces, and I'm going to use some Jenga pieces to add to this. And so this is the mechanism that's going to keep our hoop in place. We'll be adding some more support, but I'll show you that in a second. So first I'm just going to glue them down so that I can then go on the back side and staple them with my staple gun for more security. And then on the second piece, I'm just going to make it really, really close so that I can stick my hoop in there, making sure that those 2 little loops on the side of my hoop are on the sides. It was kind of hard to see exactly where my pieces were to have the staple gun go into it, so I kind of had to keep peeking on the front to get an idea and then make my best guess as to where that Jenga piece was. But this way it just keeps it snug as a bug in a rug. And then once I got my Jenga pieces stapled in, I'm going to tuck in that little hoop, and you really want that to be super tight. So I just gave it some muscle and then used my screwdriver to pop that in there. And now that we have it all together, we have a basketball hoop. So now I'm going to take my jute twine and feed it through first the little hole on one side and then into the hole of my sign, and then through the back. That's going to become our hanger, and then I'm going to come back through the front side of the other hole and then into the second hole of the hoop. And then I'll just tie that in a knot, and now that's going to hold it up. It would stay as it is, but what we're going to put in it is a little bit heavier, so it will have a tendency to droop down in the front. One thing I would recommend is to put knots right on the back right here before feeding it into the other side, just so that it doesn't change the height of how much you hang it, no matter how much weight you put inside. So the most difficult part of this project was getting the stickers off of these little domes. Now, I have had viewers comment before that they had a hard time. I never have, and I don't know why it was so different this time. I'm thinking maybe the age of the dome, or how long that sticker's been on there, or maybe the temperature where it's located. I don't know, but it was like alien space technology sticker. And so I just had to use some acetone to get that off of there, and it made it a little foggy, but I put that towards the back and you can't see it. So now I'm going to use my mineral chalk paint to paint those little tops, these little ventilation system pieces at the top of the dome. These are for plants, by the way, to protect them, and so I guess to give it a little air or water, whatever, they just slide around. So I'm going to use that to my advantage, and after I paint them, I'm going to take my little shower curtain and use another little piece of jute twine to tie it on there, and then I'll hot glue that to the top of my dome, which is actually going to be the bottom, and then I'll slide those 2 pieces of twine into the holes and then twist it so that it closes up and none of my moss is going to fall out, and then I'll tie that on the inside of my domes. So I'm going to take my dome and set it inside of a bowl, and then that way I can fill it with my pretties. I'm using some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree and a piece of floral foam. I'm going to put that down inside, and I just want to make sure that my moss covers all of that floral foam. So I'm just going to push it around, and I ended up using a whole bag for each one. I didn't realize how big these are, and you guys will see towards the end just how big of a piece these become. So then I'm going to take some of this Dollar Tree fern, and these actually are kind of legit. They actually look pretty real, and so I'm going to use 2 of those in each of my planters and just pop that into the floral foam, and they're done. And here they are, all finished. And you guys, I had to move my dining room table all the way back in order to get this in the same shot. I think these turned out so good, but they're so big for just a few bucks. You can put better greenery in there if you want to, but they'll really fill any wall. I love these bigger items that usually cost so much, and we just did it for a fraction of the cost. I love how these turned out, and I hope you guys like them too. For this project, I'm using a plastic water jug and 3 tubes of Dollar Tree caulking. This project was supposed to be included in my Trash to Treasure video from last week, but I ran out of time and I didn't want it to be too long, so I'm going to use it in this video. But I just love how this turned out, so I'm just going to cut off the end of my tube and start adding that caulking to the plastic of my water bottle. And this is really fun. You know, the messier the project, the more I love them. So I'm using my gloves so that it's not all over my hands, but I am really just dying to have what's that movie called? Ghost, the pottery scene. Anyway, that was what I was feeling like. I was feeling so creative. So I'm just going to run this all the way up and down and around the mouth of the jug and just kind of mold that into something that resembles old pottery. You see the little lines, the indentations of the jug. I kind of want those to be highlighted, but a little less deep so it doesn't just look like the plastic. So I just run my hand over that and smooth them out. Eventually, I take some water and I'm going to spray that on there and make it easier to work with because it does start drying as soon as you get it out of the tube. And then I used a craft stick to make it even smoother and get that all spread out. One thing I will tell you is that if you're going to do this project, make sure you cut all 3 tubes before you put your gloves on and start getting all messy, because then I got it all over my scissors and it was a big mess. So then once I get all of that caulking onto my jug, I'm going to let that dry overnight, and I just placed it on a piece of cardboard so that I could set it aside and do other work. And then once it dries the next day, I'm going to take my white chalk paint and paint that completely white. And then I'm going to go back with my mineral chalk paint and give it some distressing and just make it look so old. And it really makes those nooks and crannies kind of stand out once you do that. And then because I want it to be more blended, I'm going to go back and add some more white and then just keep going. You can never mess this up. It's just adding layers and layers, and it just makes it more beautiful and authentic looking the longer you play with it. To display this, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree beaded garland and wrap that around the neck. And then I have these little wispy plants from Walmart. You kind of have to ruffle these up. I think they're supposed to kind of look like the pampas grass stems, you know, that you see in kind of high-end shops. So I'm just going to poke those in there. I'm also going to use it with some pretty flowers that I'll show you in another reveal for another project. But here it is, all finished, and I just think this is so pretty and actually cost us $3. Well, you know what, $3.75 plus our little garland. So anyway, I just love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. For this project, I'm using a Dollar Tree canvas. This is the 11 by 14 size, and I'm gonna make a cross on the back of it. Now, I geeked out a little bit with the numbers here, but figured out that the cross beam, which I can never get the right size if I'm doing a cross, is 63% of the size of, or the length of the up and down beam, the vertical beam of the cross. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but there it is, 63%. So I'm gonna make a painter's tape cross and then get it to the shape that I want. I'm gonna angle the top and the bottom and then make the sides up and down, or no angle on those. And then I'll have this cross ready for after we do our painting on the other side. So I'm using Hello Hobby chalk paint in blush, and then Waverly chalk paint in pool, and then Waverly's Snow White chalk paint. I didn't end up using the celery like I thought I was. I use this little bottle so often, I just put some water in there. This is from the glass cleaner that my mom used to use for her glasses. And so anyway, I'm gonna spray a bunch onto my canvas to get it all wet because I want this to look like a watercolor, and that's kind of hard when you're using chalk paint. So the more you dilute it, the better. So I'm gonna dip into my blush paint and then a little bit of white, or vice versa, a lot of white and just a little bit of the blush. And I want this to be super, super subtle. So I'm trying to make a sky. I'll add a little bit of the pool and just mix it all in there to make a really pretty sky. And then I'm gonna take some of that Snow White and just dauble, I don't even know, is that a word, you guys? But see, this is daubling right here. That's daubling on some clouds just to give that a little idea of clouds. And then I'll add some blue to kind of outline them and just make it super pretty. It's even hard to see on film, but anyway, I'm just gonna do whatever just to make it look like a sky. And then with my blush, I'm gonna make it a little bit darker and start making some mountain. Now, you guys know I'm very critical of my own work, but this is one of those projects that kind of came to me in the middle of the night. So I'm just doing what I think I see in my head. Now, my mountains were a lot prettier in my head. And as you can see here, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm trying to get my best Bob Ross on, but it is what it is. But I'm going to be putting my cross in the middle of my canvas. So the sides are what are more important, or as far as being prettier and more detailed, or what are actually going to show. Not that I didn't try in the middle. It's just that I wanted to make the sides a little bit better because those would be showing. And so Bob Ross says that the front mountains are always darker than the ones behind. So that was what I was trying to do, make those a little bit lighter and then give it a little bit of like foggy softness in between each of those mountain ranges. I don't even know if you could call these ranges, but you see what I'm doing here. And if you want to do this project, you don't even have to do mountains, but I think those are the easiest to paint because you can't really mess up, I don't think. And then I just added some highlights with some whites and then kind of just brushed it down in wispy little strokes. And I think it turned out pretty cute. So now I'm going to take my cross from the other side and I'm going to pick it up and put it onto the front of my painting, and I'm just going to measure pretty roughly. I usually eyeball everything, but I think this is going to show if it's off sides or, a little wonky. So I was pretty mindful to get that straight and in the middle. So now I'm going to take my big fat nail and my holy wood, and I'm going to start making little holes at the very top. Now, I just eyeballed these, but one easy way to do it is kind of do the middle and then do the two sides, or do one side and then do the holes in the middle of those. The most important thing is to make sure that you have the same number of holes at the top that you do at the bottom, and then also the same number of holes on the right side that you do on the left side. And then once I get my holes all punched in, I'm going to pull my painter's tape off. A little bit of that tape did go into the canvas, so I just pulled those out with some tweezers. So now I'm going to take some gray yarn and my needle, and I'm just going to start poking this in and threading it through those holes, going back and forth. And then once I go into the hole directly across from it, I'm going to go next door and come out of that hole next to it. And then I'll go back in on the other side, and then again go next door, come out that side, and then go back across the canvas. Does that make sense? I'm not sure I'm explaining that right, but you see, you're not going to see another hole cross on the back side. You're just going right into the hole next to it. it. Huh. And then to hold it down, I'm just using a piece of Scotch tape. We're going to put this into a frame, and so there'll be a backing that will keep this all in place. And this is a little bit time consuming only because I really wanted my lines to be pretty straight, and I think I did a pretty good job. And then once I get all of my vertical lines going, I'm going to go over to the sidebar and start at one end. But instead of just going straight to the other hole, I'm going to weave that in and out of my up and down beam. And that's just going to give it a really pretty woven look. And that's kind of what I saw in my vision. So that's what we're going to do. Again, a little time consuming, and it does get a little wonky, or the pieces of yarn get a little crookedy, but we're going to adjust that and make it all straight at the end. And this was such a great project to kind of just sit back, listen to my worship music, and feel so close to Jesus. Anytime I'm doing a Jesus project, I'm always feeling close to him. But when you're actually assembling a cross, it just makes it more intimate and therapeutic. And I would recommend doing a Jesus project if you want to feel that peace and calm. So now to frame our project, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree 11 by 14 frame, and I'm going to take everything out, including the glass. And then I'm going to take my white chalk paint and paint it completely white. And then before it dries all the way, I'm going to take my sandpaper and just give it a light brushing, and it'll just take off some of that paint because it's so easy to come off while it's not all the way cured. Once it cures, it stays on there, and it's hard to scratch it off or even get it off with sandpaper. But I like the pretty brown poking through that bright white. And then I'll place it on top of my painting and then put the back in there, and it is done. And here it is all finished, and I think this turned out just so pretty. And even though my painting is not Bob Ross's, I think it turned out pretty well. My vision came to life, and you can also see that I have my caulking jug all displayed with pretty flowers. This is actually how I store my flowers and some of my greenery. But anyway, I love how this turned out, and I hope you like it too.
Sad. Why?
Not really sure. So for this next project, Kaydance and I were celebrating our birthdays this day, and it was our girls' day out. We got our nails done and had some sushi for lunch, and then it was time for Grandma and Kaydance crafting time. And so we came outside to get a couple of branches for this next project, and sadly, part of our lemon tree had fallen down, and we didn't know why, but I thought Michael J had cut it down purposely, and I was not really happy with that because I love me some lemons. And so I found out though that one of the branches was very weak, and so it fell. So he trimmed it up and got it off of there. But that was perfect because now we were able to cut off some of these little limbs to make our topiary. So you can see here Kaydance is trimming off all of the little greenery from there, and you can kind of see the background of my craft room there. But anyway, so we're going to use some baking soda and some Snow White Waverly chalk paint. We're going to mix these together. I'm taking 2 little pots from the Dollar Tree. So one's going to be for me, one's going to be for Kaydance, and we're going to make sweet little topiaries that we can keep forever. So we're just going to mix that up and then just went to it. We were trying to figure out, we didn't know what to do, you know, just paint it all, or if we were going to just leave some open spots. So we just played with it a little bit and just did it how we thought would be cutest. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I'm just seeing what, I don't know, because you can always cover up more. Mm-hmm. You can kind of take away too, but what do you think? Are you going to do yours all solid?
Probably, because I already started.
Well, actually, I think yours looks better than mine, but you know,
I probably would just do all white.
Well, you know, I'm a fan.
Should I paint inside of it?
Yeah, just a little bit down. You can also, since it's thicker, you can go in different directions and kind of give it that
texture.
Yeah, and we can also add some brown distressing if you want to give it a weathered look.
Yeah, we should do that.
Look, that looks pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm just saying that's an
That does
idea.
look really cool.
And look, you
I
can.
think I should do that too. So the baking soda gave it see those dots?
Yeah.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Because that's usually how some pots are.
Like pottery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like clay stuff.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Nice. I like how yours is looking. We should have worn gloves, Kay.
We should have.
Okay, what do you think? Okay. Next step.
Okay,
So we just want a little teeny piece to go in there. Yeah, I think so. And then we can just add to it. Perfect.
Wow.
Piece of meatloaf. So it's all nicely mushed in there, okay? So we're gonna take just a teeny bit and just pull it apart till it comes apart. There's just no easy way to do this that's clean.
Ooh.
And then,
Hot glue.
yeah,
This is a perfect piece.
pop it right on there. Is it on?
And you don't want to show any of the moss or the foam.
Correct. And then we'll cut the excess off after we get our sticks
You
in.
could like shove it in the
Yeah, that's a
tiny
good
bit.
idea. That's a great idea, Kay. That's why you get paid the big bucks. All right, so now we're gonna take 2 small stems and a big stem.
And you can get these off of your tree
Right,
or bushes.
yeah, which is where we got them. So we've got the base, and then I'm gonna twist it around to give it a little corkscrew. And then I'm going to stick it in here all at the same time. So do you wanna get the scissors and just cut me off a little piece?
This is called floral wire.
And then let's wrap this up here.
So I just gotta stick it in there now.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you though, cause, well, I'm sure you can do it. Ready? Oh yeah, you can do it. Okay, perfect. Way to go, Kay. Jeez, you're like the boss of that. So now we're gonna determine how tall it needs to be and where we're gonna cut it. Yours is better than mine, Kay. Okay, you guys should see us right now. We're filled with moss, but that's okay.
That's what.
Messier is better.
Yeah.
Not really, but we're gonna try and stay the cool grandma that says that. So we have a Dollar Tree squishy ball, and then we have this little styrofoam ball. I don't know what it's from, but you can tell it's been used. So she's gonna be the little baby, and grandma's gonna be the big baby. Okay, so we're gonna use all kinds of greenery here. These are from Walmart, eucalyptus picks. These are the boxwoods from Walmart. And these are, what does it say? Just DECOR from Dollar Tree. Yeah, which I really like because I know they're still looking plastic, but they kind of hang, so I don't know.
Droopy.
We might use these. I don't know. We'll see. And then plus this is good for like scraps. I have the scrap bin over there. Now this ball was had by Carter, I believe.
Probably did.
No, that was actually Connor. It was Connor.
When he was little?
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
definitely.
Because I had more of these, but they're
Yeah, he
somehow
used to
missing
take
all of them.
in his
Okay, so
stomach,
we're gonna
probably.
take
Yeah.
some, oh, my wire cutters.
Everything's so organized.
Thank you, baby. Okay, so I'm not sure of the length that we want yet because we gotta see, based on the size of the ball, how it's gonna hang, you know what I mean? I think that might be okay.
And like stick them everywhere.
Yeah, and hopefully we have enough. If we don't, we'll just tap into the scraps. I like this height better,
Okay.
so I'm gonna,
And maybe I should do tinier ones because I have a tinier.
yeah, I think
Oh.
so.
And really cover it where you can't even see.
Yeah, hopefully we won't see the world under there.
Maybe even if you can see the world, you could painting it green under.
Well, I was thinking about that, but the only thing
Crusty
is
and
it's gonna get
squish it.
crusty, yeah. So let's just try this out and then we can add moss if we need to cover it up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I think we might need to use hot glue on these so that they don't fall out. Yeah, I just really want it wispy though, you know what I mean?
Not like a perfect circle.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I don't want it to be a perfect circle. I think that's gonna be
Yeah,
pretty.
it is.
Okay, so
Me
do you wanna start on yours? Are you gonna do the eucalyptus? Or is that too big, do you think? I'm not sure. Let's
I am gonna
let's
use
do
it, I think, but just cut it short.
see what that looks like. See, I feel like once it starts getting full,
It'll look better.
yeah. And that's why we didn't cut this, because it's gonna be determined on how big these are. Okay, so let's start filling in and we'll be back to you after these messages. Beautiful. Did you just crack your knuckles? Look at this. And then we left the bottom open, so that'll go on our stem, but you can't see any white peeking through. Oh wait, did I see that? Oh no, that was just a shiny. Perfect, Kaydance. Ah, so good.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have to determine how tall we want this to be. I think right there. Don't you think?
Yes.
Okay, so that's right there. And then we'll cut it.
Where the wire's at?
Yeah. And then that way we have more to,
and then just
I think
shove
we're
it
just
in
gonna
there.
shove it on there.
I might stick some more.
Yeah, we can if there's, oh. Help me, Kate.
You want me to get it?
Yeah. Just a little bit more push. Oh, there you go. Put yours next to it. So stinking cute. Okay, but we have one more step.
I like how ours are different but still the same.
Yeah. And I'm a little bit taller than you.
Yeah,
Not
you
really.
are.
We're gonna take this little teeny piece of scrap linen. So what does this remind you of?
The Jesus stride.
The what?
The shroud of
The shroud.
the shroud. Shroud?
Shroud of Jesus.
Shroud.
Shroud of Turin. Okay, so I think we're gonna make this about this size, and then see how it's all shredded at the end. So we're gonna take this, we're just pulling out the strands. There's more glue on my fingernails than there is on my topiary. We want this to be flat, so will you get out the little mini iron? It's in the glue gun box.
Oh my goodness!
Is that cute?
What in the world?
It's like for a dollhouse, huh?
Yeah, where's plug in? I can plug it in there.
Over there.
Oh my goodness.
He's not all the way hot yet.
That's adorable.
I'm gonna do, let's see if this stays.
Oh. Oh no. Mine's gonna be so bad.
No, it's not.
Oh man, you're going over and doing it all fancy. Now I have pressure on me.
No. But that's the point, is that it's supposed to be your
So
12-year-old writing, and this is my 57-year-old writing. I think it's pretty in this
Yeah,
in the
it is.
pencil though.
Because it's like old fashioned.
Yeah.
Not that pencils are old fashioned, but it looks like it.
Yeah.
Wait, are they?
Well, I mean,
Did people back in the day used to use them?
yeah.
So it's old fashioned. It's like the perfect amount for my name.
Okay, there's Kaydance.
What
Now,
am I supposed to write?
well,
Not Wendy.
no, Grandma. So, here you go. Let's go, sister. I love how that's turning out.
I know, I love it too.
Look how cute! Grandma and Kaydance. Come on, Kaydance. Okay, so now we're gonna take our twine, right? And
This thing she made, which is amazing.
thank you. Okay, let's get the needle down there. Okay, and then we're gonna tie a knot.
Do I have to put my finger?
No, pull that.
Like this?
Mm-hmm. Pull it. Yeah. Okay, and we're just gonna tie a sweet little bow, right?
Yep.
Uh-oh, Grandma's upside down. Let's see if I can do it upside down.
You did it!
How to tie an upside down bow. Sweet little bow. I'll show our new nails. Well, thank you for working with me today, Kay. I appreciate the grandma time you give me. Okay, love you. This was such a special project, and I'm so glad I got to do this with Kaydance, and I'll have something to always cherish in my home. And it is pretty stinking cute too, but I just remember doing a video with my mom before she passed away, so hopefully this will be just as special to Kaydance as it was for me to be able to craft with my mom. I hope you guys enjoyed these projects, and if you did, don't forget to give them a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think. If you're not already, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button down below, as well as the little bell right next to it, so that you can be notified every time I upload a brand new video. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and remember to always be the light. Bye.